Hello everyone. Hope you all are well and fine. It's me, Madhuri Dayal. Today we will discuss about the chapter Biodiversity in Living Organisms. This chapter is very interesting chapter as it comprises of bewildering variety of life forms. In this chapter, we will see about that how the microorganisms, plants and animals, they have evolved, and according to their characteristics, how they are categorized into different groups. Now, first of all, what do we mean by biodiversity? Bio means living thing. Diversity means variety. This living world, that is on the earth, there is variety of living organisms. On one hand, we have microscopic bacteria of a few micrometer in size, and on the other hand, we have giant blue whale and redwood trees of California of approximate 30 meters and 100 meters respectively. You have also seen that some insects have very short lifespan and they die within few days, like mosquito, and some live for thousands of years, like pines, banyan, etc. You have seen that some of the organisms, they are colorless as worms, whereas some are brightly colored, as you see, like birds and flowers. So you see that each organism is different from other organisms. Now, the diversity is not only present almost different organisms, but also individuals of the same organisms. For example, you and your classmates are roughly of the same age, but perhaps no external feature is similar any two of your classmates. When you will take the example of height, nose, eye, shape of the mouth, etc. But when we compare ourselves from monkey, then you will see that our friend is more similar to us than the monkey. However, if we compare to ourselves monkey and cow, the monkey will be found to be more similar to us than the cow. Then, what is the need of this classification? First of all, what do you mean by classification? It is the arrangement of organisms into different groups based on the similarities and dissimilarities. There is very difficult to know, identify and study about all the organisms one by one. But if they are arranged in different groups based on their similarities and dissimilarities, then it is easier to study the different group as a whole. Now, what is its importance, or what is the importance of classification? This classification helps in exploring the diversity of life forms. It makes the systematic study of wide variety of organisms easier. It also gives a base for different branches of biology, like biogeography, ecology, etc. It gives a clear picture of all organisms and the way they are related to each other. Now, what is the basis of classification? Greek thinker Aristotle classified animals according to whether they lived on land or in water or in air. But this has limitations. For example, we see that in the sea, different animals like shark, whale, dolphin, crab, starfish, they are living. In fact, they are different from each other. So, the main characteristics which is considered for classifying all organisms into different groups are whether they are prokaryotic or eukaryotic. First of all, what do you mean by prokaryotic? Prokaryotic means those organisms which have not well-defined nucleus, and they have also cell membrane-bound cell organelles absent. And in eukaryotes, they are well-defined. That means their nucleus are well-defined, they are surrounded by the nuclear membrane, and they have also membrane-bound cell organelles like mitochondria, endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi complex, plastids, etc. Now, the second characteristics is unicellular and multicellular. Whether the organisms are unicellular, that means they are made up of single cell, or multicellular, that means they are made up of more than one cells. The next point or the characteristics taken as consideration is cell wall present or absent, and they are autotrophic or heterotrophic. That means whether they can make their own food or they are dependent on others for food. Now, what is the relationship between classification and evolution? Classification is closely related to the evolution. Organisms are classified based on body design, function, hierarchy, and developing relation to evolution. Charles Darwin first described the idea of evolution in 1859 in his book, The Origin of Species. Changes or variations allow the organisms to compete with one another and survive better. So, what we see the present day organisms, they are complex living organisms and they have evolved from the earlier simple forms over billions of years. So we can say that some changes or some group of organisms having ancient body design have not changed much during evolution. They have simple forms and functions, and these organisms are called primitive or lower organisms. But some organisms have acquired their body designs relatively recently and have complex forms and functions. These organisms are advanced or higher organisms. Now, we will see about that how the organisms are classified. The biologists such as Haeckel, Whittaker, and Carl Woese tried to classify all organisms into broad kingdoms. After that, Robert Whittaker has classified he has given the 5 kingdom classification, that is Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae, and Animalia. After that, Carl Woese divided Monera into 2 groups. First one is the Archaebacteria, which is also known as Archaea, and Eubacteria, that is also known as bacteria. Now, we will see about, after that, further classification is done by naming the subgroups at various levels. And this is known as linear system of classification. In this system, the different levels are kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. By arranging organisms on the basis of hierarchy of characteristics into smaller and smaller groups, we arrive at the basic unit of classification that is called species. Now, what is species? Species is a group of organisms that are similar enough to breed and perpetuate. So, from this hierarchy of classification, we can see that kingdom contains largest number of organisms with more variations or differences. And from the picture, this is also clear that species has smallest number of organisms with less variations or differences. Now, we will see about that Robert Whittaker different kingdoms. Now, the first kingdom is Monera. In this kingdom, all the organisms are unicellular. That means they are made up of single cell. And the second characteristic is prokaryotic. The organisms are prokaryotes. That means they have not well-defined nucleus. And the membrane-bound cell organelles, they are also absent, like Golgi apparatus, endoplasmic reticulum, plastis, mitochondria, etc. And they are either autotrophic, that means they can make their own food, or they are heterotrophic, That means they depend on food for others. And how they move. The movement takes place, that is locomotion, is with the help of cilia and flagella. Now you can see some of the example: bacteria, cyanobacteria, and anabaena, etc. Now we will see the second kingdom, that is Protista. In this kingdom Protista, all the organisms are also unicellular as it was in Monera. But here is one difference, that they are eukaryotes. That means they have well-defined nucleus and membrane-bound cell organelles are present. So this is what the main difference between kingdom Monera and Protista. Now in this kingdom, all the organisms, either they are autotrophic or heterotrophic. That means they can make their own food, that is autotrophic, or they are dependent on other, that means heterotrophic. And here also locomotion is with the help of either cilia or flagella. Now see, some of the examples are there in the picture. Algae, all the unicellular algae comes under this. Some of the diatoms and protozoans like amoeba, paramecium, euglena, etc. Now come to the next kingdom, that is kingdom fungi. Now all the fungi are multicellular except yeast. Yeast is unicellular. Here all the organisms are also eukaryotes. That means they have well-defined nucleus surrounded by nuclear membrane. Here cell wall is also present, and this cell wall is made up of chitin. And here the nutrition is saprophytic. That means they take the food from dead and decaying organic matter. And here the digestion is extracellular. See some of the examples like mushrooms, penicillium, aspergillus, and so on. Now, some of the symbiotic forms like lichens are there. In this, some fungal species live in permanent mutually association with blue-green algae. And such type of relationship is known as symbiotic relationship. The symbiotic life forms are called lichens. You must have seen lichens on the bark of trees or rocks as large colored patches. From the figure, it will be very clear to you that these type of lichens, how they are present on the rocks and the bark of the trees. Now the next kingdom is plantae. In plantae, all the plants comes here. All these plantae are multicellular, and again it is also eukaryotes. That means they have well-defined nucleus and membrane-bound cell organelles are present. Their mode of nutrition is autotrophic. That means they can prepare their own food with the help of chlorophyll, sunlight, carbon dioxide, and this process is called the photosynthesis. So with the help of, by the process of photosynthesis, they can make then their own food. Now cell wall is here present, but it is made up of cellulose. We have seen that in case of fungi, the cell wall is made up of chitin, but here the cell wall is made up of cellulose. Some of the examples are mosses, ferns, mango, banyan, pine trees, rose, etc., etc. Now come to the next kingdom, that is Animalia. All the animals, they comes under this kingdom Animalia. Here also all the organisms, they are multicellular, eukaryotic, and here one difference is that from there the plant that they have heterotrophic mode of nutrition. So this means that they do not, the animals, they do not make their own food. They are dependent on others for their food. They are dependent on autotrophs or the plants for their food or nutrition. Here cell wall is absent. And all the animals like ant, elephant, human being, all the birds, all the reptiles, all the amphibians, fishes, they comes into this group. Now it will be very clear from the picture. Now you can see this flow chart, that how all the organisms are categorized. Now first of all, these organisms are divided into two types, prokaryotes and eukaryotes. In prokaryotes, the monera comes, and in eukaryotes, the unicellular or acellular organisms and multicellular comes. In the unicellular organisms, protista is present, and multicellular organisms are again divided into two types. First one is with cell wall, and the second one is without cell wall. With cell wall, this is again divided into two types. First one is that they do not do photosynthesis. That means here chlorophyll is absent. That is the fungi. And the second one is that they can do photosynthesis. That means here chlorophyll is present. They can do the photosynthesis, and all the plantae comes in that. And the next one is the without cell wall. That is animalia, or the animals comes under that. Now we will see the classification of kingdom Plantae in more detail. Now this Plantae kingdom is divided into first two sub-kingdoms, that is cryptogamy and phanerogamy. Crypto means hidden and gamy means reproductive organs. That means here the reproductive organs are inconspicuous, that means they are hidden. And they have naked embryos, that is the spores are present here, and here also seeds are absent. Now the next one is phanerogamy. Now this subkingdom phanerogamy, here the reproductive organs are well differentiated, and here seeds are present for reproduction, but here spores are absent. Now this cryptogamy again can be divided into three divisions, and phanerogamy can be divided into two divisions. Now the cryptogamy are divided into the different divisions, that is the thallophyta, bryophyta, pteridophyta. And phanerogamy is divided into two divisions, that is the gymnosperm and angiosperm. Now first we will discuss about the first division, that is the thallophyta. As the name suggests, thallo, that means the body is thallus-like. That means the body is undifferentiated. It is not divided into root, stem and leaf. So it is called thallus-like structure. And they are commonly called algae. They are green in color and they are found in water. That means they are aquatic. And here vascular system or the vascular bundles are absent. Now you can see some of the examples like alva, cara, cladophora, spirogyra, ulithrix. Now there the next division is bryophyta. Here the body is differentiated to form stem, root and leaf-like structure. But here see the leaf-like structure. That means they are not true leaf, stem, but they are false leaf, stem and roots. And they are called the amphibians of the plant kingdom. Now what do we mean by amphibians of the plant kingdom? This means that for reproduction, water is necessary. Here for conduction of water and minerals also, vascular system is absent. And for reproductions, here spores are present and seeds are absent. Now come to the next division, that is pteridophyta. In this, plant body is differentiated into root, stem and leaves, and the roots are known as rhizoids here. Here vascular system is present, and these are the first vascular plants on land. Here for reproduction, spores are present. Here also seeds are absent. Now the next division is gymnosperm. Gymnos means naked and sperma means seed. That means the seeds are naked, and that means we can see the seeds with our direct eyes. They are not enclosed within the fruits, and they are perennial, evergreen, and woody. Now, some of the example you can see that cycas, pinus, devdar, cedar, etc. They comes under the gymnosperm. Now come to the next division, that is angiosperm. Angios means covered and sperma means seed. And here that means the seeds are enclosed within the fruit. We can't see the seeds with our naked eye, but they are enclosed within the fruit. This is the very main difference between the angiosperm and the gymnosperm. And they are the flowering plants. That means they produce flowers. Plant embryos in seeds have cotyledons. That means seed leaves. Cotyledons are also known as seed leaves. Now, based on the cotyledons or the seeds, angiosperms are divided into two types, monocotyledon and dicotyledon. Now we will see about in detail about the monocotyledon and dicotyledon. Now mono means single and cotyledon means seed leaves. Means these are the plants having seeds with single cotyledon or single seed leaves, and they have the root fibrous type. See the picture, it will be clear to you that which type of structure is called the fibrous root. And here veins present in the leaves, that is the parallel venation. And the flowers are trimerous flowers, that means they are the multiple of three. That means 3 petals are present and multiple of 3. That means either the 3 petal will be there or the 6 or 9 or 12, like so on. Now come to the next group of angiosperm, that is the dicotyledon. Di means 2 and cotyledon means seed leaves. So here in the plants, seeds have 2 cotyledons or seed leaves or double cotyledons. Here the root is taproot. From the picture, it will be clear to you that what is the structure of taproot. One main root is there and the side roots comes out from there. And in the leaf, reticulate venation is present. That means one main vein is there, and from the main vein, the side veins comes out in the leaf, and this is known as reticulate venation. And flower is pentamerous. That means 5 petals are present. And what do you mean by multiple of 5? That means either the 5 petal will be there, and multiple of 5 is either 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, etc. Now we will see the flow chart of the plantae kingdom. Now see from the picture that it will be clear to you that they do not, first one is that they do not have differentiated plant body, that is the thylophyta, and either they have differentiated plant body, that is without a specialized vascular tissue or with vascular tissue. In without vascular tissue, the bryophyta comes, and with the vascular tissue, that is the pteridophyta comes. That means they do not have seeds, but they have spores for reproduction. And that having seeds, they are known as phanerogams. Phanerogams, again, they are divided into 2 types. First one is that bare naked seeds and bare seeds. In the the plants which bear naked seeds, gymnosperm comes, and in those the seeds are inside the fruits, angiosperms come. Now in the angiosperm, again it has 2 types. Have seeds with 2 cotyledons, that is dicots, and have seeds with 1 cotyledons, that is monocots. So this is all about the kingdom, Plantae. Now, children, hope you all understood this chapter, Plantae Kingdom, very well, and hope you like this video. Thank you.